Welcome back, everyone, to the Deep Dive.
Great to be here.
Today, we're doing something, well, a bit different, maybe even a little bizarre.
Definitely fascinating, though.
We're diving deep, really deep, into just a single line of ancient wisdom, Proverbs 20, verse 5.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the twist. We're not using, the usual methods. No dusty commentaries today.
No, we're using this incredible visual mnemonic system. It turns abstract ideas into this unforgettable, almost cartoonish narrative.
Right. And our sources suggest this isn't just about memorizing. It's a whole methodology for internalizing knowledge.
Exactly. It blends deep linguistic understanding with these super concrete, specific images. It really forces the concept into your memory.
So the verse itself, Proverbs 20.5. Let's just start with the English idea first.
Good idea. Conceptually, it's counsel is like deep water in the heart of a person. One with discernment will draw it out.
Okay, deep water in the heart. That already sounds like something you need to work for.
That's the core, isn't it? The answer, the counsel, it's already in us. It's that deep water.
But finding it takes effort. Active effort.
Specific effort. And our job now, using this system, is to identify all the characters and tools needed for that retrieval. It's like assembling a toolkit.
Okay, let's unpack this system then. What first struck me was that the memory trick starts even before the verse text. It starts with the address, chapter 20, verse 5.
Right. The numbers themselves get turned into concrete objects. They set the scene. It's not about complex codes, really, just the memorable result.
So number 20.
Number 20 becomes a vixen.
A vixen, a female fox. Okay, that's memorable.
Definitely memorable. And then number 5, that's linked to a zester. The kitchen tool for grating citrus peel.
Wait, so the starting point for understanding deep counsel is a fox and a kitchen zester.
Kind of absurd, right? But that's the point. You instantly have this ridiculous image of vixen, maybe on a kitchen floor near a zester. That's our anchor.
I guess the absurdity makes us stick. Okay, so we have our location, our anchor point. Now, the verse's core metaphor, deep water, mayim.
Water. Yeah, mayim. And that's symbolized very simply, just a single water drop.
A water drop, like the very beginning, the potential.
Exactly, the seed of the insight. But as you said, the key part is the depth. The verse says ӓmukim, deep, profound.
Right, that's not just a drop. That implies going somewhere.
Precisely. And how do you visualize profound depth? Something that goes down, away from the surface noise.
Like diving.
Close. The image used is a submarine.
A submarine. Okay, that makes sense. It descends, goes below the surface, into the quiet.
Perfect visual for ӓmukim, isn't it? It represents that deliberate move into the depths where the quiet truth is.
All right, so we've got the vixen and zester setting a weird scene, a water drop starting things off, and a submarine representing the journey down. Now we need to populate this inner world. What about the counsel itself, עצה?
Right, עצah. Counsel, advice, a plan. The visual for this is, well, pretty intuitive, actually. It's an owl.
An owl. The wise old owl. It makes sense culturally.
Yeah, it taps into that shared symbol of quiet wisdom. That's the internal guidance.
And where is this owl, this counsel, located? The verse says belev in the heart.
Yes, belev. But the system avoids a mushy, sentimental heart image. It's more functional.
Functional how?
They interpret heart here as the mind, the engine room of thought and intention. So the image isn't a heart shape, it's a brain.
A brain. Okay, so the wisdom isn't just feeling, it's in the structured depths of the mind.
Exactly. Organized, deep recesses.
Now, this next part.
Yeah.
This is where I paused. The person who needs to get to counsel, ish or Valatia man, or and a man, the image is a gorilla.
Yes, a gorilla.
A gorilla. Why? That seems intense. Not just a person, but this symbol of raw power. What's the implication there?
That's actually a really critical point the source makes. Retrieving that deep, quiet wisdom, the deep water, it isn't passive. It's not just thinking.
Okay.
It requires the emergence of someone or some part of you that's genuinely strong, powerful. The gorilla represents the sheer personal, maybe even mental force needed to overcome inertia, distraction, all the surface noise.
Wow. So the ish, the person of understanding, has to be like the strongest animal to pull up that heavy truth.
That's the idea. It reframes effort. It's not just intellectual effort, it's an act of will, almost like internal heavy lifting.
Okay, that's quite an image. So the gorilla's ready, but does he need anything first? The verse mentions tavuna, understanding, discernment.
Yes, tavuna. And this is crucial. It's like the preparation. Discernment isn't just a lucky guess. It comes from groundwork.
So how do they visualize that?
As a bookshelf.
A bookshelf, like accumulated knowledge.
Exactly. The idea is the gorilla, the strength, can't actually get the counsel unless he's sort of standing on or supported by this organized, accumulated knowledge. The bookshelf represents that foundation of understanding.
Preparation meets power. Okay. And the final piece, the action. He will draw it out, usually like water from a well.
Right. And the image for that action, the tool needed, it's straightforward. A bucket.
A bucket. The tool you use to draw water.
It makes the retrieval concrete. You need the capacity, that's the gorilla, plus the bookshelf. And you need to actually use the tool, the bucket, to bring the water up.
Right. This is where it all comes together, isn't it?
Yeah.
We've collected these, frankly, weird images. Vixen, zester, submarine, owl, brain, gorilla, bookshelf, bucket.
Mm-hmm. Quite the cast.
And the sources weave them into a story that actually explains the proverb.
That's the payoff. The narrative starts with that initial scene, setting up the tension. Remember the vixen? She's there on the kitchen floor. And the giant zester 5 is grating loudly.
Creating all that surface noise and chaos.
Yeah.
You mentioned it makes a sort of shallow sea.
Yeah, like agitated, noisy surface water. It's the opposite of the deep counsel.
But then amidst the noise,
Yeah.
silence.
Yes. A single water drop, mayim, falls. It sends out just one ripple. That's the subtle hint, the signal of the real thing underneath.
And that triggers the descent.
Immediately. The submarine, āmukim, silently slips beneath the surface, moving away from the zester's racket, going deep.
And the counsel, the owl, is on board.
Right there. The owl, ḥeṣah, is standing, watch on the submarine's deck as it goes down. Counsel guides the exploration into the depths.
Okay, now the revelation of the inner self, the brain.
This is a key moment. As the sub descends, the owl's head opens up and inside. The brain, beloved, is revealed. The mind, the source, is exposed deep down.
Wow. And the gorilla, where does he come in?
This is symbolic. From a kind of rift or opening in that revealed brain, the gorilla-ish slowly emerges.
So the person who acts the agent of change literally comes out of deep, quiet inner thought.
Yes, not out of reacting to the noisy zester on the surface, but born from the internal quiet.
That's powerful. Okay, so the gorilla emerges from the brain.
Standing conceptually on his bookshelf of understanding.
Right, the tizuna.
And he takes the bucket, yidlena. He reaches down, maybe through the bubbles left by the submarine's descent.
And draws up the water.
Draws up that heavy, quiet water. And that water is the answer, the insight. It took the strength of the gorilla, guided by the owl, using the bucket, grounded by the bookshelf. It wasn't just found, it was actively, effortfully retrieved.
Okay, we've been on quite a journey. Vixen, zester, submarine, owl, brain, gorilla, bucket. It's an unforgettable story.
It certainly is.
But what's the core message? What does this whole elaborate system, this narrative, actually tell us about finding wisdom or answers in our own lives?
Well, the sources really boil it down to a fundamental choice we make.
A choice between what?
Between listening to the quiet, profound inner depth, symbolized by the submarine diving down or getting caught up in the constant grating outer sparkle, the surface noise of the vixen and the zester.
Because that surface level is always buzzing, isn't it? The zester's always making noise.
Always. And the key insight is that the wisdom, the counsel, ḥeṣah, it's inherent. It's already in the deep water of your own heart or mind, beloved.
So the mistake is thinking we need to find the answer out there.
Exactly. The source material implies it's already there, deep down.
Then why the gorilla? Why the bookshelf, the bucket? If it's already there, why does it take so much apparent effort to get it?
Because potential isn't the same as reality, right? The gap between knowing something is in there and actually using it is huge.
Okay.
And the imagery explains why. You need the preparation, the tavuna, the bookshelf. You have to filter potential wisdom through actual understanding.
Right.
That preparation allows the strength, the gorilla to emerge, to be effective. And then critically, you need the active choice to draw it up, yidlena, using the bucket.
So the knowledge is just inert. Useless deep water until someone strong and prepared consciously decides to haul it up.
Precisely. It's useless until retrieved and applied.
So if you feel stuck or like you don't have the answer, the message isn't look harder outside. It's more like, have you actually summoned the internal gorilla strength to go get what's already inside?
Yeah. And picked up the bucket. The strength and the tool are vital. It reminds us wisdom isn't passive. It demands that disciplined dive like the submarine and that powerful effort like the gorilla, #tag outro.
Wow. This has been, well, quite the deep dive. It really shows how powerful bridging abstract ideas to concrete visuals can be. A single line of Proverbs becomes this vivid story.
Vixen, zester, submarine, owl, brain, gorilla, bucket. You won't forget that sequence easily, will you?
Definitely not. And the roles they play, the concepts they embody, stick to.
Yeah, the system works because the absurdity makes the sequence memorable and the logic connects the images to the meaning.
So, to leave everyone with something to think about, if real insight requires that gorilla, emerging from the brain, standing on the bookshelf, to actually use the bucket,
Mm-hmm.
what's one piece of deep water, that quiet counsel you sense is already inside you, that you maybe haven't quite summoned the gorilla strength to draw up and use this week?
It's a great question because often the only thing stopping us is just making that conscious choice to pick up the bucket.
Something to ponder. Thanks for joining us.
My pleasure.
We'll catch you next time for another deep dive.